Welcome everybody to Recut Gems, another Black Print Patreon bonus. Is IMC here with A+ for another month here on the Black Print Network. Of course, if you are tapping in to Recut Gems along with all of our bonuses, you can always do it early. Patreon, Spotify Premium, our new home that we're actually setting up right now throughout our bonuses and our bonus episodes on YouTube. For anybody who wants to be a YouTube subscriber and don't really like the Patreon setup, that's cool too. We have our setup here on YouTube for all of our bonuses, all of our early episodes, and so on and so forth. But as of right now, Plus and I, we got a little bit to catch up with on. Plus, what's going on?
Just basking in the afterglow of this week, man. It's been a pretty
shining.
Pretty good week for the sports team that I follow, specifically the basketball team, the one Boston Celtics.
My wife is so upset
with you
at me.
As we introduce our special guest here, of course, J5 is on here with us to talk a little bit on the Recut Roundtable. Why is your wife upset, if we may ask?
On last episode of the Black Print, I said I'm gonna ride with my brother because I was there in 2010.
That's right.
When he had to do that bet. You know what I'm saying? And cut all this. Yeah, and he got the good hair. Like I said on the show, he got the good hair.
Can I ask when this bet was? It like game one between Lakers Celtics, and it was just like at the beginning you say, all right, if anything happens,
remember though, the Lakers was getting their ass bust and dusted. It was looking bad.
Boston was up 3-2.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember clearly. Then we got to
Robinson falling over.
Kobe.
The next chapter of Kobe in our test.
The book of Kobe, bro. It never fails you, yo. Trevor Ariza knows. But so I said on the show, I'm going to support my brother A+ because I was there when it happened. I love Plus to death, and I want to see him get one. The thing, and she said, what? You're a Celtics fan? I said, no, I'm really like an A+ fan more than anything, but I don't mind Jason Tatum. He's like the game he plays is cool. Like I like the way he plays the game. Y'all got to remember the sports shit is not as deep to me as it is for people who are regionally in an area that you have a sports team. Okay. So when I say, I could literally switch teams tomorrow and it wouldn't matter because I'm from Virginia.
We don't have
it does not matter. We don't have nothing.
So if there was let's just say, I'm making up a name. If there was a Virginia Commonwealth,
we almost had the Kings, Mark. We almost had the Kings. We were like kind of close in Virginia Beach to having the Kings, but that felt
the Virginia Beach Kings.
If we were to get one tomorrow, I still can't just go and be like, yo, I'm gonna be on the Virginia train. I'm just not gonna do. I'm gonna pick whatever I want because they came up before I. You know what I'm saying? Like after I left, I'm gonna be here in California for 10 years in January. I cannot just be like, oh, that's like me being a Tides fan right now. What's their record? Nobody knows.
I would have no idea what the record is right now, but it's got to be different for those, especially with your wife, that comes from the ilk of 80s Lakers, especially with parents that were in those 80s Lakers.
She's been to Lakers parades. Like physically been there. I've never remember when they won. We was locked down. We still haven't gotten to make up for that. We never will.
Oh, LeBron's not. Yeah, I don't think LeBron's getting that.
Yeah,
he got a new coach. Got a new coach today, officially announced. Congratulations.
Why are people so down about this? I would love to know.
I don't know. What is the JJ? Aside from, I guess people think he skipped the line. I guess you could say, but
former players always skip the line.
Exactly. That's like the ticket, folks.
Yeah, like am I wrong? Like is that not how Steve Nash got there with no practice, no pin dude? He's been around enough coaches to know what the fuck to do and what not to do. I would think, right?
And they're going to like the word is they're going to put seasoned veterans around him as far as assistant coaches to help the learning curve with becoming the first time coach. So we'll see.
Don't call Mike Brown. LeBron is going to not give him access to the training facilities. But I don't hate the JJ Redick thing because I don't know what the fuck he's going to do. But this is another hashtag LeBron's mans So
Right.
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I think that's the source of the hate. That's probably the source of the hate right there. Is that they've been setting this play up since the podcast, before the podcast. So,
have you watched any Mind the Game 5?
I have never watched it. Again, like I've fallen off of sports so hard that it's like I'll jump in during the playoffs and just be like, okay, cool. Like I watched the finals because I was trying to support A+. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw the gravity of the situation, and I was like, cool. When y'all was in the finals against the Warriors, we had just got married. I wasn't even, a lot of shit was going on, but y'all got your ass bust. But
that definitely happened. I give it.
It was just time. Like, Cam, he's from St. Louis, and I'm just rocking what my bros rock with. And then my wife is just like, I really can't believe you. She was legitimately mad, and I was just like, I don't take this seriously, right? Like, you're serious? I am completely confused at why you're so serious right now, because I don't take this serious at all. My father-in-law loves me so much that I don't even think that would break our bond. You know what I'm saying? I think he would be like, oh no. But I'm pretty sure he was watching the finals as well. And he probably had like a satellite team that he was rooting for. Probably, obviously, the Mavs or whatever. But he watches just basketball in general. So like, I don't think he would have gotten that upset about. Here's the thing. She don't even watch the games. So I'm not trying to hear her. I'm not trying to hear her shit. She don't even watch the games. I'm not trying to hear her shit. New episode of the Davises is coming soon though.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. As we talk about new episodes, I do have a little bit of announcement. I have a debt that I have to now pay, unfortunately. I've taken the past couple of days to just think about grief and just think about how much of a wake up call this has to be for the what's the face? Grief? Is that a
who passed?
I think a lot of things passed for the Miami Heat. That's the tough part.
A lot of things might be passing for y'all though.
Exactly.
Y'all getting old, and y'all are
nobody's fucking helping. Chicago and Oklahoma just swapped it out like Jeezy on them boys. God forbid Miami gets a swap it out. I'd pray for a swap it out right now.
Bro, you know what happened? It's the curse of having Jimmy Butler on your team, and he be talking all that shit. That's really what it is.
He don't even be talking shit. It's tongue in cheek. It's a little jokey joke.
They putting foot to ass because they ain't giving y'all nothing.
Well, I ended up getting this hat from a brother of mine. Shout out to Shaq. Shaq, you're gonna hear from very soon on the bonus that I actually do have a date for now. The Great American Dash is coming July 4th. Okay. Finally. I'm going to put pen to paper and take care of this move that is going to be around, almost 7 months since I've been here.
7 months, and that video has not come out yet. So I'm really wondering what that's about to be.
It's like the WrestleMania documentary.
Yeah. Exactly. Plus, it's just like a WrestleMania doc. Sometimes you just gotta sit and wait for greatness. You know what I'm saying? But this is the hat. He told me to wear it just in case some things were to happen. On the outside, might look like a usual Heat hat, and I was pretty happy to get it in the mail. He had to let me know that underneath all of this success is what's really underneath. And that's
wow. And it's ganged out too. It's ganged out. Jesus.
I'm not wearing it outside because clearly he wants me to die.
That's Grove Street.
And wear this outside. This is Grove Street, which I'm not gonna do, but I will for the sake of the show. Ouch. I will wear.
So you gotta rep both sets.
The Celtic hat. I'm just trying to not get in trouble outside. That's
why is it green? Is that custom?
Yeah, that's a Hat Club exclusive or something. What is that?
I don't know what it is. He just got it up. He was like, "Oh man, I hit the Heat store for this." I'm like, "Heat store ain't selling this bullshit. Green on the brim of the Heat hat."
That must be the Metro Boomin edition, where it's just the turncoat edition.
The 59. What's the turncoat edition of 5950?
I was hacked. That's the I was hacked.
I was hacked collection.
the like that series.
This is the like that hat. Oh, I feel even more disgusting. So now I'm just gonna wear this throughout the show, just to show that I have no hard feelings. Obviously, for those that are listening early on Patreon, the parade is today. Plus, I'm surprised that you're not at the parade today.
You know what? I wanted to be at the parade, but I have to go to Atlanta. I'm going to birthday bash tomorrow. It's Saturday.
Oh no, birthday bash!
Yep, going down to birthday bash, working that event. Should be interesting, man. Lotto is headlining. It's Lotto and Friends. I've heard like some things, so it's you gonna have a pretty. You sure?
My hand up.
Sure.
Tired of Friends.
And Friends in now. It's like in Friends, right? So everything is in Friends.
Friends is dead. All right. Because if they was really your friends, you would just say their names. It's never J5 and Friends. You know, it's not that. I introduce everybody. I'm tired of Friends. After this week, I'm tired of Friends. But
after this year in hip hop, Friends is like very light. It's very a loose word in hip hop right now. So.
Yeah. There are no friends. I think we're back in a rarefied era in hip hop where it's like a battleground, and people have chosen sides are loose, and there's no real affiliations. I mean, you got Bia,
Boston legend.
Wow. She's not a Boston legend no more. Not after what happened there. But it's no more Friends in hip hop no more. Like, who's Lotto gonna bring out? She's gonna bring out Cardi. We know. She's gonna bring out Glorilla. We know. Oh wait, no, she's not. Don't they?
Glow's on tour.
Yeah, she's on tour.
I don't know. I think she's going in a like the old. I want to say old school Atlanta bag, because I mean, what are we talking, like 05, maybe the 90s? Like, you know, I don't know, but I think she's gonna go in the archives for some surprise guests too. Though I got a
Fabo.
Fabo. I can see. I can see nice. Fabo.
What's the vibe if she brings out Mr. 101 himself? He's not on tour. He just came off. He did a show already out there.
Yeah, he got Welcome Back Gunna on his thing.
Exactly. So is Mr. 101 on? Could he be in Friends? Is he a friend?
Hey, man, I don't care what anybody has said in Atlanta, from Atlanta the past couple years. You come out there and do What You Mean or Fuck You Mean, any of those records, it's going to happen. Everybody's going to go crazy. Like, I want people to stop the cap, okay? Just stop the lies. People will go crazy at that.
Why did he never do the actual What You Mean? Why is it when I turn on the radio, they're like, all right, here comes Gunna, you mean, here on...
So on radio is you mean. It should be What You Mean. That's actually a good little edit.
Yeah. Listen, there's so many rappers that failed to re-record their verses for radio edits. And I'm trying to think of like a recent example, because there is a good one recently, but I can't think of what that is off top. But the more people do that, the more successful their singles will be. That's just an old school thought, train of school of thought, but it's serious though. I think it still works.
It's the old sensual seduction argument, where it's like some people like sensual seduction because it just rolls off, it rolls better. And sexual seduction is just the nastier kind of like, oh, it's really like this.
Yeah, it was sexual eruption. Like he went freaky.
Yeah, it was sexual eruption. And it's like, oh no, I don't actually like that because you are 50. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't like that version of the song. But it's like, if Gunna was to tap into F You Mean is cool, but I guess Q-Pisky didn't want to redo her ad lib.
Ad lib?
Because that's who's saying it, right? Is her. But I've never heard Gunna on radio out here.
Wow. That's something though. That speaks to something, because when you're out west, it's a different mix. Like for the past 15 years, Chris Brown has been king. Of course, Drake has been king. But you're right. Certain artists from Atlanta don't make it to the West Coast. Right. And they're huge on this side of the map, but they just don't translate well.
I can remember when I got here, Lifestyle was big. Stoner was mixed show when I got here. But the most thug I had ever heard was, shockingly or not shockingly, Hookah. When I first moved out here, Hookah was the song that you heard from him more often than not. And then you don't hear nothing. And then the next song that you heard the most from him was The London, which like that was kind of his biggest song that I heard out here. But I think it's interesting. And I was like, I've cruised around listening to radio, and I have not heard any Gunna. In fact, does he have a place on radio right now? Is he being played? Like,
Yeah, One of One is a single. That's the current single right now at radio, and on the heels of Proud of Them, which was okay. It didn't fare too well at radio, but I think One of One, especially with as many times I heard in the NBA playoffs, it should fare better.
Yeah, no, it's TikTok famous, and I think that's really Gunna's pocket right now, right? Like that's the he's making fun records again. Yeah. Finally, that's made all the difference for him is him being able to make those records. I think you give me an album with real producers of one-on-ones, then stop getting them Afghani producers.
Type beats. That's right.
Gunna type beat from Kazakhstan.
I miss Weezy, man. Weezy just I started thinking about, does he see the photos that happen at the shows, or just like Gunna dapping up Thug's dad and just be like, okay, maybe I don't need to be at the stance or the position that I'm at right now and stand on that?
No, because ultimately it's like Thug's dad isn't the one making a decision here. And I think ultimately Gunna's verdict is Thug's verdict. You know what I'm saying? Like, for better or for worse, if he gets out, Thug's, I don't know to what extent he can actually say anything about anybody that was involved, but I already know he possibly can never be around him or, in the same room as him ever again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or until he's off of whatever federally mandated thing he's on. If God willing, he does get out, that's going to be what it is. But if it's like he does an interview and he's like, leave him alone, then you got to just leave him alone. And there's egg on everybody's faces that ever said anything bad about him. But ultimately, we already know the legal ramifications of it. The people that are testifying right now against Thug are doing way more damage than Gunna ever did. Like Thugger Daily said it in one tweet where they were like, just them saying Gunna is a snitch actually hurts Thug more than just shutting the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like that, because then that makes it look like it's coercion, or makes it look like it's intimidation. Like that's why no one's saying anything. And ultimately, no one can say anything except for him. So I don't think the dad stuff matters. It's cool that his dad, still has a relationship with Gunna, and that's important. But I would not be surprised if Gunna wasn't footing the bill for his lawyers and shit, because Thug has not put out a song or album or a tape in 3 years. So it's drying up.
Right.
And we barely even seen him interact with anything music wise. Obviously, we had Mariah say that she played the disses for Thug. He didn't really go into too much detail on what he thought about the disses. We saw him loving his own lines on halftime.
Yeah. Oh, so she played him the disses from everybody?
Yeah, Mariah said she talked to him on the phone. She played him the disses at the time, which I think Not Like Us was out around the time. So she played him the whole line of disses. And she was like, yeah, he's interested. Like, she didn't go into too much detail on what he thought and get granular about what he thought about each disc. But she was like, yeah, she played him all the records. So he's heard him at least.
I'm sure he's probably neutral. Like I know that I would imagine he probably feels a way about the Atlanta part, but I know he probably thinks that these are literally his two favorite rappers in the world. So he's probably a fan like we both are. I don't think he's getting too granular about it himself.
All right.
I did think of two friends though. Anicia and Big Boo. We gonna get Anicia and Caribou on the birthday bash.
Is he gonna come out like this?
Right.
I fucking hate when she does.
Where your daddy at, bitch? Where your daddy?
Bro, you just hit that hard, man.
That's all we need.
Can we really just talk about it, man? Like, I know I talked about this on the Black Print too, man. It's really sad out here for just new rap, bro. Like, I've been banging this Charli XCX, and I'm like, man, I'm hand up. I'm post rap.
Making you dance, waving your hand.
I'm in the club with it. I'm in the techno club with it. I'm in the discotheque with it. Where the Molly at?
It's bad out here.
I thought that I never thought that I would be that tapped in with Charli XCX that I was like, I'm going to play a full project. Like, she's had records for the past at least 11 years or so. And I would just come in and just, pinch a couple records out of the albums that she would drop and blah, blah, blah. Then she started getting things big on TikTok. But this project, I think, is mainly produced by A.G. Cook. And I think a little bit of Gets Applestein, if I'm saying that correctly. Crazy production on this.
Mm.
And I liked it. Talking her shit. She got a couple of introspective records, records about Sophie that passed. dance records, bass boost tests, everything that'll pass. I'm telling you, she got car test records on this.
Okay, now listen, I have
that Bon Dutch. Come on now, that's a pop record. That's a 1997 pop record. That's what I fuck with. I fuck with Brat because like the Olivia Rodrigo, I don't really fuck with her because her shit don't bump like this to me. So whenever I hear it, I'm flip. Nope. But like with Charli, I'm like, bro, she got some real like club records like from the 90s. And I think it would behoove anyone to check that out for sure. Because it's one of my favorite albums of the year. That, the Wolfface Joey has been my favorite joint. That shit is hard. Shout out to Josh Peace for putting me onto that too. And I want to say I like the Don Toliver, but I can't say that. I'm skipping through it way faster than I thought it would. I thought I would. I'm skipping through it. Like the first half is actually really solid, and the last half I'm like, and I think like the big question right now, right, is like, why isn't Don Toliver's albums doing as well as the marketing or the visibility behind them? And I'm just like,
sure.
I think a lot of it goes into just like artists to me today aren't developing like their personalities. Like artists don't do press. They don't do interviews. There's no MTV to put them on, so you can do like have cool viral moments with them anymore. Like we've lost, I feel like, a big part of artist development where it's literally just it's up to the fans to make those stories and to connect those dots. And I don't think a lot of people like outwardly connect with stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lack of visibility for a lot of artists. You know, you have the success, you have the streams, but like you said, where do we learn the story? Going back to Kendrick, I mean, once again, I've been saying all day, I thought he was going to talk more shit on stage because it's not like he's sitting down talking with anybody.
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean? We don't know anything into the mind of why he went this way. So that's a problem with artists across the board these days.
Who started? It had to be Drake that started the no press, no interviews thing after the Rolling Stone thing. Yeah. I think he was the last big artist that said, I'm never doing this again. And a lot of people follow suit. I think Thug had a couple. Thug's never really had a great interview.
Right.
He was really the last one. Future's done interviews like way back in 2019 or back when like Wizard came out. That was the last time he had like a big press run. Yeah. He did everything and he hasn't done it since. It's just, I mean, he barely promotes his own albums. It's like there's no development no more. And I feel like that's what takes me out of stuff like the beef and stuff like that. It's just like, I keep saying it. Why is nobody going to Funk Flex? Why is nobody going on radio? You know what I'm saying? Or at the very least, going to Big Boy Show. You know what I'm saying? If that's the case, right. and talking and doing stuff like that. Like, remember we used to have like BT would do like sit downs with the artists trying to get them to squash the beef, and they would do like behind the scenes. Like, remember the Rick Ross Deeper in the Rap?
Yeah, that was. I was going to bring that up because we all sitting there watching. He's like, "Yeah, I took a position. You know, I was took a position."
That nigga boy Ross is a y'all nigga boy Hall of Famer off this,
bro.
But we all watched it though. We all watched it.
Because who paid for that? Because the special is basically like you wait 30 minutes with a lot of commercials for the final 15 minutes for him to actually say I was a CO or not. So you're waiting on bated breath. And then he just like, yeah, I took a position, but that don't mean I was always. Basically, he was like, I wasn't a clean CO. I was like,
how do you get off without, you know, fucking yourself over, basically? You know,
the commercial was so crazy because it said the truth is far more sinister.
And you know, like, again, you're right. Like, this usually rolls out the week of the album. Yeah. So the label has a hand in, of course, putting these specials together. Like they did, of course, I mean, like Kanye had someone like a MTV Unplugged special on BET when Graduation dropped. Like they would put those specials out to coincide with the release of the album. And once again, everything is so like, you know, it's not the monoculture anymore. So everything's just broken down. You don't really see anything streamlined, even to the point of like what Amazon Music is doing with these concerts. You don't really see that too often. So
yeah, I mean, it would be cool. Like I think Weeknd did something cool where for Dawn FM, he had like little video cutouts for Amazon where he would just do singles and it would just be him performing the singles. Do that, but have interviews in between it. Like, what are you thinking about? Like, and I mean, to his credit, I think Weeknd lets us into what's going on in his albums far more than most artists do. Because he'll literally go on and be like, okay, this is my new era. This is the look. This is everything. And he'll interact with people, but like no one really does that anymore in the rap space. And I think that's just always been so interesting to me for the past 6-7 years that you can't sit Playboy Cardi down and say, where's the album at? You know what I'm saying? Or if you do, he'll give you an answer that's sufficient. That's not just, I mean, you're just, vibing. You know what I'm saying? Like some perked up answer. You know what I'm saying? Like people used to like the A&Rs used to be with the artists at the Breakfast Club saying, okay, you got these, they're going to ask you these questions. You have to give these answers. You know what I'm saying? Like this is just what it is. And I think there's a part of that that's missing. And that's why And Friends to me is terrible. It ultimately comes around to And Friends. Because it basically allows you to skirt past any responsibility of actually talking about what you're doing and why you're doing it. Like I think that's a big part of artist development for me.
And at the bare minimum, I'd say thank you to the streamers that are actually trying to get something out of that from like I don't think they would consider themselves as journalists outside of like a few of them, but at least some trying to have the artists on and ask them something, because it's very rare that we get them from these artists in that case. But then sometimes when they try, you get a Cardi Aiden type situation where he's there for 5 minutes and he's wearing a mask and he's like, yeah, I'm coming soon. And then just runs off. And that's $250,000 down the drain because he gave you like a 5-minute interview and then he's gone.
Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you. And then leaves. Wearing a GIMP mask. Fucking crazy, man. Just think about like your favorite rap interviews or your favorite interviews from that time. I think obviously we're always going to gravitate to the Nas meltdown. Well, they called it a meltdown at that point, but it's like, like imagine we get that with Kendrick where it's just like, he's just tired of all the stuff. Like you could, the through line's there. He could literally go on the radio and say, I was just tired of seeing these people all buddy and we were supposed to be at war with each other and I had to shake it up.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's like, okay, bet.
We'll take it. Right. We'll take that.
I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? I'll take it. And you say, well, you know what? I noticed that these people had problems and, they just tired of the whack shit. I'm like, bro, like the most frustrating part about this shit to me is like the by proxy shit, like on the Future album where it's like Prodigy narrating the album. And I was just like that's just such a cop out because it allowed both artists to kind of be like, well, what do you think it means? It
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
you come at the end of Future, like, yeah, I agree, Prodigy, and then just go to the next song. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I agree.
We're the best in this business,
right?
Like it's like left up. That's why I just feel like it like there's a level of finesse that's missing from this shit right now. And like I think of let's go back to Ross Hot 97 interview. We don't do pushbacks interview. I remember texting you A+ like he is talking that shit right now.
Right, that's classic. That is classic.
Like Ross at the height of it. Have you heard that interview, Mark?
Around the time that Jeezy was about to put out 103 and it didn't drop till like November.
Yeah, wasn't it like the December before?
Because when did it come out?
Announced 112
or 13?
Yeah, like end of 2012, if I recall.
Right.
Supposed to come out.
And that's what
announced it a good minute ago.
Or 3 years, excuse me. Yeah, whenever they went on that tour, that Drake like tore his quad or whatever, they were already talking about TM103.
Where is you can't even find it no more.
What 103?
No, we don't do pushbacks.
Oh, right. We don't do pushbacks. Yeah, that's the thing. I think at that age, I wish in my youth. Oh, it was end of 2011 that 103 came out.
Oh wow. Okay.
But I wish at that age when I was trying to get hot 97 links, ones that would get pulled back in a couple of, I wish I had the mindset just be like, let me record these just in case 15 years from now people forget a lot of the stories that were going down, because there was hot stories in 07. Obviously, I think one of the hotter ones is pretty well documented because Cam had his camera on when he was talking to 50, and that's on Now What TV and stuff like that.
The thing about that people forget is that Jimmy called in later that day, like on Angie's show after all that happened. It was kind of like being neutral about it, and that kind of like planted the seeds for what happened a few weeks later when he walks to that door in Rap City, during G Unit week. So you're right. There's things like that are lost. People don't even remember that part. So.
I tried to go on Misinfo's site because where I know that was at, it is gone.
Wow, Misinfo.tv, right? Wow.
All of those interviews are gone. Like I'm like, there is a level of preservation that we are losing, that people cannot find interviews like this, because for anyone that's never heard the Rick Ross, we don't do pushback shit. Like in a lot of shit we talk about, it almost sounds like it's like counterculture. It almost sounds like it didn't ever happen and we're just making it up. That's what makes me feel crazy about it, because he goes on Hot 97. It's literally wintertime. And this is like after basically he's at the height of his powers. He said, "I got 2 singles for you," and that was "I Love My Bitches" and "You the Boss." And those were the 2 singles he had. And I was like, because I remember Plus was like, you were like, you didn't like both singles. You were just like, both singles, they were like, they weren't gonna move the needle.
Yeah. He blew his load on Rich Forever, let's be honest.
Yeah. Because it was they weren't gonna work. But "I Love My Bitches" was a cool track. He was rapping his ass off. It was just a moment. He goes up there and he just like, they literally ask him, "So what's up with all the stuff they're hearing about Jeezy?" And then Rick Ross just goes off. He says Jeezy was doing things that I would consider less than G. And I was like, oh wow. He's like, I would consider it less than G. And the thing is like, I feel like Ross actually had a point there, because again, he was actually explaining his side of the story. And I feel like Jeezy didn't explain his side of the story because he didn't have a point to why he was dissing Ross. He had no point. It was his literal point was, you're taking the BMF name and you was never in it.
Yeah, that was it. You heard BMF's like, well, hold on, what? That's exactly what. That's the origin of that shit to me, man.
And I think at the time, like, for as popular as he was. I could say he's trending downward, but like, I feel like if he would have just released the album, he would have been back up to where he was, and he did after 103. But 103, he got him pushed back. He says, "My new album coming out. God forgives I know it's coming." Literally, he said it was coming out like 3 weeks or some shit like that. I was like, wait, what? And I think the story goes at that point was that Def Jam had no clue he was about to do all of that shit.
Yep. And
this was when God Forgives I Don't was Rich Forever at that point. So the Rich Forever that we got as a mixtape was God Forgives I Don't at that point. And he said, I got that. It had those 2 tracks on it, the 2 singles on it. So he says, we don't do pushbacks over here. Def Jam. Basically said, I run the building. He also was implying that Jeezy was like running to people and like complaining and telling on him and stuff like that. And then literally, what was it? Like a day, 2 days later, or that weekend, he has the seizure. Yeah. And you don't hear from Rick Ross for like a month or 2. And the big triumphant return for him, I don't think people remember this. Like, the big triumphant return was Rich Forever, was that tape dropping on January 6th or 8th or whatever it was. But that interview kind of fueled the narrative, and then all of that stuff, like, because he would go back and do several other interviews after that, and I'm like, that's what was missing from, or that's what's missing
context.
From exactly. Context matters. Like, one thing that kills me about this era is that, like, we're leaving it to academics and we're leaving it to like all these accounts who are connecting the dots, and this is what More M's was about, and this is what this shit was about, and it's just like,
right.
I can't take it serious because it's not coming from the artist's mouth, and I think that's just a level of like non-connectivity that I just don't like about this era right now.
Do you think all the speculation is why we're here? Why we get the aggregate tweets that say, "Oh man, Pharrell just dropped a record off the Minion soundtrack.
Oh my God.
Is he dissing Drake? Because he's talking about a guy that's lying."
To Despicable Me 4 in stores, July 16th, whatever the fuck it was, July 16th. Again, that's why you get tweets where it's like, he put Dave Free at the first name. I'm like,
God. That pissed me off, man. Because I'm just like, it's only his manager, his right-hand man and business partner. Like,
we're in dunk culture. Like, where things that are not a troll or a dunk become a dunk if you allow it to be. That's why we're just in a dangerous place in time right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's really scary. Like, on all ends, on all fronts. I'm literally seeing like my favorite genre turn into Pizzagate. You know what I'm saying? Like,
seriously though, like, it's so many Fox News angles and plots. I mean, in this beef alone, in this battle alone, like, there's so many. Well, I'm telling you what he is, folks. He's a pedophile.
Yeah.
You know, where is this coming from? And you're right. We talk about this offline. Like, we're seeing OG after OG, you know, esteemed rapper after esteemed rapper. Look at this shit with a side eye. Like, what is this really about? You know what I mean? Because it's not really a lyrical tour de force on either side. Yeah. It's turning the Shade Room TMZ fodder. And that's where I'm like, all right, man, y'all got it.
No, I mean, I know we're deviating from the Deviating from your show notes, Mark. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay because it definitely feeds into a lot of the music conversation that I think does affect how we view and talk about music right now. Plus, I was going to ask, even though this is completely, it's a little bit outside of hip hop, but can you take a look at a moment or an era like 2011, 2012 and say that maybe artists, maybe a decade ago, were a little bit more open towards open conversation? Because last week, it's outside of rap, but it was a little bit of a controversial topic where you had Tyla on The Breakfast Club. She hears questions that she obviously does not have the best prepared answers for, looks over to her help in the back, and they're like, yeah, let's skip this over to the next question. This was something that we decided before the interview that this was not somewhere that we would go. You tried it. That's great. It was cute. Let's try and move on to something different. Do you see that a lot more these days than back in like a decade plus?
You always had artists that didn't want to answer this question or answer that question. And I going back to the time period you're referring to, like 2011, 2012, and when you started to see like, okay, they answered it on Breakfast Club, so why would you ask it again type of deal? You know what I mean? So you always had that element, but it goes back to what Fi was just talking about too, where artists were more conditioned to have the conversation. If they didn't answer before and you asked the question that maybe it was very topical, something just happened yesterday, they were more inclined to answer it. Now it's just like not even thought about, because even going back to, once again, 2011, 2012, especially 2012 is that pivot of where Chief Keef came into play and hip hop became a whole new thing because a whole new generation is being involved. So they handle everything on social media. Everything was on Twitter, everything. People learn how to talk different because of how Chicago was talking on social media. So once that happened and people started to communicate in their own ways, now we're all the way down. So like you said, they'll hop on Kai Cenat stream or whoever stream and have a conversation. Yeah. Not really a formal one, but just talk about some stuff. That it lost in that time period from then till now is that accountability and that structure. And quite simply, like the labels don't have any control really. Like the labels at the mercy of these, these managers and whatever they feel like doing. Yeah. There's no A&R, there's no rep that's going to to the best of their ability, they're going to do it. Don't get me wrong. To the best of their ability, they're going to do it. But 9 times out of 10, these artists do not want to be bothered with like the standard interview or none of that stuff. So,
you know who does? Tyler, the Creator, is the only person that will always do an interview and always do press for his albums because he wanted it. I feel like he wants it. He wants that superstardom, and that's why you get the reactions that he gets, and he gets the love that he gets. Drake, to a certain extent, at the point where he said, I'm not doing it no more, he didn't have to do it anymore. Like, he literally doesn't have to do it anymore. Taylor Swift doesn't have to do it, because she doesn't do it either. She don't do press either. Doesn't have to do it anymore. You know what I mean? And it's a scary precedent, because we have so much stuff. Like I said, it just lost the time, bro. It's lost the time. That Rick Ross interview lost the time. Like, the shit like the Nas meltdown lost the time. Cameron, Jim Jones going on. Jay-Z, we talk about this all the fucking time. Jay-Z walking into the fucking Hot 97 studio. Hovey's home.
With Angie.
And then the host trying to be like, oh, who's going to tell him?
right. He just held the vote. Like, literally just held the vote,
And he loses. And I'm listening to this like, my antenna, like, gotta get New York. Nope, that's Delaware. That's New York right there. Trying to get the radio right. Like, and him just being like, oh, Jay, you lost.
Oh, and you heard his voice.
And it wasn't like a landslide, but he lost pretty convincingly. I think it was like 40% or something. To like something like, it was some crazy number. And that's when you hit it's just vulgar. Like, he just didn't understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's where we're at right now. Like even if you could, and again, like, I just feel like people were so unfair to people like Questlove, and for a lot of reasons where it's like Questlove, he came up in that beef and he saw every kind of aspect of it. And people were like, well, didn't you play drums at the Unplugged? And I'm like, yes, the takeover where Jay-Z famously said that Nas beats his wife and has sex with little girls. You're right. Yeah, totally the same vibe. Totally the same vibe as what's going on right now. But I think there were a lot of things that he was right about, where it's like, this is not what I kind of like grew up trying to be. Funk Flex today says it again. And again, if there was context, he wouldn't have this question. He wouldn't be tweeting it out where it's just like, well, he was like, what was this? Because the end of this whole thing just seems so weird.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The end of this whole thing seems weird, where it's like I'm like, did this happen? Like,
you're right. Because I looked at it first, I was like, what is it? What is Flex? And I looked at it again, I was like, Oh, he actually has a point here. This is a good question. He's like, I have Drake Kendrick question. Was it a lyrical competition or a marketing career relaunch? I need to know. I need to understand what are the rules in a lyrical battle. So,
and if they've changed, go on his show and tell him why it's changed. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to like wax about who won, who lost, whatever. I'm just talking about like the behind everything, because like ultimately this feeds into what's like your summer anthem, right? Like this is now a summer anthem, and the song clearly is going to outlive the beef, but the actual purpose of what it is now is different, because it's going to be played forever at this point. This is like a forever West Coast song. This is a West Coast song to a level of like what Hit 'Em Up was. You know what I'm saying? Like that is what this is now. And in some ways it's like it's a rallying cry for people who are here. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the record is popular all over, but once this dies down everywhere else, it's still gonna be just as hot as it came out today out here. You know what I'm saying? Like you can already kind of see this week's kind of boosted it up again, but it's gonna fall again. You know what I mean? And it's like, we would love to get the story. Like, I don't want Mustard telling us a story about all of this shit going on. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want to hear from the source. And that's just what's frustrating to me about this whole thing, but also unfair that like, that people are getting on people like Cameron. I remember Cameron, I talked about it in the Black Print. Cameron was just like, I don't really understand why people are doing this, because they make so much money. Why not just make money together? This all ends when Kendrick goes on radio and says, well, I was just tired of seeing all these people together. I just wanted to fuck it up. You know what I'm saying? Then it's like, oh, I can easily pick a side at that point. I can be like, oh, I don't really like the way that it goes. Because right now it's like with no explanation. If I say I don't really like that, you're a dick rider. We're like, well, how am I a dick rider? I got so much hate for saying I didn't like this beef and I felt like nobody won. They were just like, well, you're like, literally, I said in the clip, Mark, I said nobody won. And somebody in our comments said, you're a Drake fan. I said,
it makes no sense.
It's a bot.
this rush to judgment, this like snap reactions. We've seen this infect politics. We've seen it infect wrestling, and now it's affected hip hop discourse. And
I never thought I'd see the day. I thought it would have been 2018 with Pusha, but he got off in like a week, 2 weeks. He did like the shop or whatever, and he was done. Like, this is the most prolonged like an L has been for him. I'm just like, you look at it just like, I mean, yeah, he lost the finals, but he wins the finals every year. You know what I'm saying? You look at it like that, like, but it's like that. I feel like we missed that context, and it kind of formulates into its own thing. And these moments that you guys talk about on Recut Gems, like they're being lost and they're being replaced by this. So when we have to talk about this in 10 years, it's like, well, he did this, and we don't really know why he did it. You know what I mean? But 10 years earlier than that, there was a really nice beef. Or 20 years earlier, there's a really cool beef I want to tell you about, where we actually kind of knew everything and it all broke down. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think there's context with that actually helps us hold some of these beefs above or higher than what we have going on currently. I think Jay Nas, I think a lot of people still consider that as one of the highest. I think 50 Ja also had a lot of context to where when I see tweets that say, you know, I think this past week was just way worse than what happened in 2003. And I'm like, I don't think Minister Farrakhan is going to jump into this. I don't think Minister Farrakhan is going to jump into this and try and squash a beef. Like, that is literal groundbreaking stuff that happened 20 years ago. Not to downplay anything that's going on currently, but yes, there is context and pieces of articles and different mediums that has helped us hold this in such high regard that we just don't have in 2024.
People miss context. I mean, to compare this to 50 and Ja, you got to remember that 50 came into the game like this. He was 2 years in the game doing there, 3 years, 4 years in the game doing this, not 15. And really on a mainstream level, 2, or not even 2. He was literally 2 months. He was already going to Ja. You know what I'm saying? Like, the context is missing. Like, it almost makes me feel like, was y'all really around? Was y'all really remembering what the fuck was going on at this time? Like it's not the same. That's why certain people are not fucking with it, because it does not feel the same as those other beefs did. Like, I look at the 50 and Ja shit. There was interviews there too on both ends. There was a reason, there was a cause and an effect to everything that happened, and everyone that got dragged into it, whether it be Eminem, Busta Rhymes, well, not him, everyone else, because we don't really know.
Surprise entrant.
Like, Still don't know
Busta
why.
Rhymes was the and friends.
Yeah, he with Busta Rhymes was the and friends. But but again, we had context to that, and that's why you can't compare it, because we don't know why they're doing this. Like, we still don't know why this is happening on one person's end. You know what I'm saying? And I think to compare that, it would be to completely negate the fact that 50 was a new artist, and that's why this was so novel, because no one had ever come at the kind of the top dog like this. There's a built-in fan base that I almost feel like both of these artists, Kendrick and Drake, knew that they're not going to lose regardless of what happened in this battle. And I think that's really what it was. Just like, one of it was, I gotta kind of get hot right now. Sorry, I gotta kill you real quick. And another one was, what the fuck is all this going on? I was not prepared and I lost again. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's literally what it was.
Yeah. And you know, Jay and Nas to me is like the last, like, quote unquote battle before all battles became referred to as beefs. Like, that did start with 50 and Ja, for sure. Yeah. Like, that was the first of real beef. And then after 50 was successful with the attack on Ja, we saw people repeat it. Like, little after that, Tip had, I'm gonna do that to Lil Flip, shawty. Like, he went right after Flip and used that same strategy to eviscerate him. It kind of slowed up once Jeezy and Gucci got into it over, allegedly, Jeezy wanted to buy the rights to So Icy, and Gucci and Big Cat weren't having it.
Yeah.
Of course, some things happened and somebody died. So once that happened, it kind of slowed up. People were like, all right, I'm gonna back off of that strategy for a minute. You know what I mean? So things that are happening now, we don't think it's gonna get to that level, but it's just like you said, there's so many people on the internet that are kind of, like I said, just going back to wrestling and politics. No matter what happens, no matter what information is given to some people, they're firmly entrenched on one side. Yeah. They're not going astray. There's no amount of correct information, facts that are going to get them to switch whatever thought they have. So you're right. However this goes, I don't think this is the end of Drake in the way that Ja Rule fell off. That's not happening. Yeah. But you're right. I do think he might return with some type of pop lean or some other bangers that are like not way over there, but somewhat more in the mainstream than we've been used to in the past few years or so.
Yeah, I mean, it's I hate to compare it, but it would be kind of like what Jay did. I mean, he came back, Lenny Kravitz. Yeah, came back. Euro J returned. You know what I'm saying? Euro J. I mean, it's possible. You know, it didn't end him. But I think people, I think it's funny, right? Like the narrative on Jay-Z and when that changed, because Jay-Z was so much looked at like a shiny suit, kind of like party type. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's always been lyrical. Let's just be clear. But the narrative behind him was that he wasn't a lyricist like Nas was. Right? So funny, because that was the thing. He can't make a storytelling song like Nas. Remember, that was the conversation in high school. That was the conversation. Like, he couldn't do that, but when that changed, when did that change? You know what I'm saying? When did it change? When he retired and came back? Because when he retired and came back, it was the most Budweiser campaign. I'm hanging out with Danica Patrick or Dale Earnhardt Jr. or whoever the fuck it was. That's right. No, remember Blueprint 2? He was like, they say I can't do storytelling. Meet the parents.
Yeah, is it meet the parents?
You know what, man? I guess that's just the tragedy of leadership. This is what niggas want me to be and shit.
And then hopped on the Scarface albums, talk more over there.
Bro, right. I'm telling you, people hate my assessment of Blueprint 2. They've been hating it on 10, 15 years and ongoing. It is the most pathetic album I've ever heard in my life. And I don't mean pathetic in the sense that it's bad, because I actually really like it. But y'all have to really break this down. I think I talked about it like on, I think me and Mills did a show, the diaries, draft diaries, whatever it was. I talked about Blueprint 2, so I'm not going to get back into it. But you got to think about a nigga who opens an album with a dream that never happened, where your deceased friend said, you know what? You are better than me. Right. I don't care what you say about I lost to Nas. Big came to me in a dream and said, I'm better than him. So fuck what you said. Let's start the album. That is literally, well, he's already disrespected Compton, but that's like Drake waking up. And I don't know, the spirit of Prince or Michael Jackson coming to him and saying, I said, jealousy, I said. Got the whole industry calling me a pedophile, I said. You know, this is like a close, not exactly, but like if he made tailor-made freestyle, like the intro. You know what I'm saying? Like to the next album. Exactly. Jay does that today. If Jay does that today with the re-rock, It Was All a Dream. How did a dream not have niggas going, what? What is wrong with this nigga? I would hope that Drake does not take the loss like Jay did, because Jay, he came out with Blueprint 2 and nigga was like, this is whack. Like Stillmatic or Godson was better. That was the whole thing. Godson better.
It was.
Godson was better.
And he threw a lot of stunts. You're right. He said, double album, relationship with Beyonce. Like he was just like, unlike, I'm good over here. Okay. He was projecting big time.
He said, bet you didn't know Prince would clear that, huh? But he did. Because I'm Euroche. Yo. He said, what? We're the ones with the flame. Hey, and friends, get your asses out here.
Right.
Oh, Skino said,
then it comes out as whack. And then it's like, well, fuck it, I'm out. Y'all niggas.
I'm leaving.
Y'all want this shit? Fuck it. I almost think Drake should do that. I almost think he should say, you know what, I'm out. But find somebody else to make you a summer banger and then just leave us with fucking NLE Choppa and fucking JP. Leave us with them niggas and we'll just fend for ourselves, yo. They should just do that.
And then we'll, like, the next summer after he leaves, will they just like chop up a bunch of his acapellas and use them as singles? Is that going to happen immediately following his retirement? Like, I'm a hustler or whoever, like.
You know what Drake would be? What was it? What would Drake's cut? What would his cut up?
What his I'm a hustler be? Yeah. Damn, that's a good fucking cut.
It's gonna be a super cut of him saying, "Yeah."
Yeah. This nigga's
hair done, hair time, make it chillin' with no makeup on, hair time, make it chillin' with no makeup on.
Niggas toe wobbling.
That's Skilla Baby's next single. That Skilla Baby's next single is coming soon.
Damn, that is a good. What would be Drake's I'm a hustler flip be?
He's gonna retire for a year. It's coming, because he's gonna hit the y'all not feeling me no more. I bet. Fuck it, I'm out. Right. He's gonna leave.
Wow, I'm really trying to think. It feels like living with my mama house. We argue every month. Living with my mama.
He started from the bottom. That's probably his most iconic, like, I'm a hustler type thing. Like, I don't know anything recently. Like, it wouldn't be anything recent. He hasn't really done anything that's like like worth repeating. Champagne poetry. Like, you can't.
Nah. You can't do champagne poetry. It's gotta be something 09, 2010.
Somebody's gonna clip just bad things. Yeah, nigga, I do bad things.
And what if Drake gets on Toronto radio and goes, "Y'all just want my 700%." Y'all niggas try. He puts back the 09. He puts back the 09. It's just like, yeah, that 700%. I need it.
Nah. Boy, nigga, Adonis need a new mechanical car he could drive around in the driveway with. It's not like Pusha T.
Oh my god! So people lying already. Listen, man, I don't think them dissing Drake is gonna get the clips of plaque. Okay, don't think that's the strategy they're gonna go after.
Is that what's happening on these new records?
They premiered one of those records at the Louis Vuitton, was at the fashion show. They had
talking about Diddy.
Oh, I haven't heard that. I heard that listening out there in Paris, but I don't know anything else.
They dissed them again.
I don't think. I think people are saying they want them to diss them on this album, but I said dissing Drake is not gonna get the clips of play.
I honestly feel like he's off it. Like, I feel like Pusha is off it. He really what the fuck is this, a 22V what, nigga?
Right. Like, I don't see Pusha reigniting that. I just don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he did what he did at a in my eyes, a worse precedence 1-on-1. I think when we talked about Meet the Grams was a different version of Adidon. I don't think that's going to happen again. And I think Pusha would leave it outside of his tweets that he would just do a little LOL on from time to time. I don't think there would be anything that's going to actually make him diss again.
It says a lot that he hasn't said anything about this though, because
he could have easily tagged in and just be like, let me get a little uppercut in there too.
Is it possible he doesn't fuck with how it went now?
It's a possibility. I mean,
look at Who for thought. I haven't heard anything, but who for thought. But what? All right, let's.
In the meantime, as these rap albums come out, I'm staying. I think I might be. I'm not post rap. I'm definitely still trying. I do still have a little bit of FOMO on how this week went down. But I did see a classic last night in a lot of T-Pain records. I'm gonna stick to my quote unquote post rap and stick to my summer R&B. I'm here chilling. I'm playing SWV. I'm playing Miguel's debut album while the sun is out. I'm playing Epiphany. That's another summer album. I think it's about to be, if not today, it's turning 16. Let me double check that.
Rap is too icky right now, bro. Rap is way too icky. But then I would say that, and I'm listening to Eminem show today. I say all that, but I'm listening to Eminem show. So you better do your homework as well, Mark. Let me just tell you right now, this episode of Throwback is going to be one of the ones because I was the one who said, I feel like you could probably clip me saying this. Eminem show probably aged better than most.
You don't think so? Really?
Take a quick look at this.
Sierra Marshall Mathers. I mean, granted, there's a lot going on this past week where there's past millennial. What's the word after millennial? Gen Z.
Yeah.
A lot of Gen Z has just started listening to "Kill You" for the first time and hearing that first verse of him revving up the engine and him and his mom. And I'm just like, man, if y'all think this is bad, just wait till y'all hear Criminal. Wait till y'all hear Kim. Wait till y'all hear many other records that it's the reason why the lyrics are not on Eminem's discography when you look them up on streaming.
You can't retroactively cancel this nigga. And I think that's really what it is. You can't retroactively cancel this nigga. I think that's what he kind of talks about in the new terrible single that he has. But not to go too deep in the weeds as I still kind of like make my notes for this episode, like it was a different time. And I think that more often than not, what I have seen from Eminem show is him reckoning with what he has created by being a white rapper. And that is I think a really good talking point on this album is that he actually reckons with the outcome of it and him basically being like, it is not cool. It's not cool. You know what I mean? It's not cool, and I'm actually it's a lot, but I do feel as though he understood the gravity of what was going on, which is interesting because of what happens to him like a year later, 2 years later with Benzino and a tape that comes out. But we're gonna talk about on Throwback. So, but yeah,
one request. When y'all get to it, please just break down Drips and say what you say, please. Because why they go at JD? I forget, but I'll wait for Throwbacks on the reason why they went after JD. But I totally blacked and forgot why that happened.
What was the Eminem JD
Jermaine
issue?
Dupri was more. Remember, Jermaine Dupri was more because he had disrespected Dre at the time. He disrespected Dr. Dre at the time, and he was going to Jermaine Dupri because of that. I believe he made some comments about, I forgot what it was, but it was Dre and Jermaine Dupri have not been cool, I think, since that time when he did that. But I think like when it comes to accolades, are they like neck and neck, or is JD above Dr. Dre at this point?
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a guy like, I know people were like making jokes, and it's funny that we bring this guy up now, but like Diddy and JD wouldn't have been a wash on Diddy's end. Like I think a lot of people like really thought that was going to be an easy victory if they ever did that versus at that time. But like, yeah, JD after this time period we're talking about, crafted the emancipation of Mimi. So
yeah.
Dude is his jersey's already up there, of course.
I mean, Diddy's already versus a lot of things right now. It really is a 20v1 right now. So.
It really is. Good Lord.
I did find it though, but they're even talking about what Dre said on "Say What You Say." That's another diss.
Yep.
Jermaine Dupri said in the November 2001 issue of XXL magazine, and first and foremost, shout out to MTV News. Thank y'all so much for keeping articles.
All of the articles up. That really helped me in the diplomatic community throwbacks.
Yes, because the Jewel's article is up there still. I saw that recirculating a few weeks ago. I'm like, wow, people just remembering this? Like, crazy.
So MTV News says the latter line refers to the November 2001 issue of XXL magazine, where a boastful Jermaine Dupri spoke of his clout as a producer and favorably compared himself to Dr. Dre and Timbaland. JD said, "That's my mentality music-wise. Whether it be Puff or anybody that want to call out my competition, I will take them out. Hands down, ain't nobody in the industry that can do what I do. Not Dre, not Timbaland, not nobody." He's been on that today, though. He's on that today, though.
Yeah. he showed improved every time. For Dre to get that upset about it shows just how sensitive things were at the time. Like he could have just did that and been like, haha, yeah, I get it. Let me go beat my wife some more. But like he really took that to another level. Bro, can we talk about the fact that he got several weird cases?
And it's crazy for him to intro that song. I'm just saying.
He got several weird cases. Mark just smiling, just like
I don't want the white Air Forces on my cheek. I'm good. I fuck around, end up in Canes. Hey, the hell y'all say? And that fresh Air Force One that he has every day.
But where you live at? Where you live at, Mark? Ain't nobody doing that.
Hey man, he said all that. Next recut, forced to be sponsored by Gin and Juice.
Yeah. Gin and Juice, the wonderful new drink by Dr. Dre, named after their iconic song "Gin and Juice."
Copy is hilarious.
Michael Cole be killing me. He be selling for Snoop. I still gotta try it though.
Well, don't try it.
I'm trying it. What is it?
Don't bring it to somebody's house.
Nah. If I'm bringing gin and juices to the crib, that's a little nuts. What is the gin and juice drink? I'm about to look.
Showing up the 6-pack in your head. Like,
6-pack of gin and juices is nutty.
It's probably a damn energy drink the way niggas be hawking them shits today.
Right.
I'm trying to look. Oh, here we go. Gin and Juice by Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. The variety 8-pack contains 2 each of melon, apricot, citrus, and passion fruit. What's the alcohol level? 6%?
That sound like a DV drink.
Right.
I was about to go thotty drink. You went DV drink, and you know
melon? Who's drinking melon?
What's wrong with melon?
Sounds a little abusey to me. I don't know.
Apricot, citrus, passion fruit, 6% alcohol. They sell it in an 8-pack for the 25. Oh no, man.
That's crackhead. That's crackhead shit. that is crackhead shit.
It's crazy.
Gin and juice.
That means if I get one at the store, I could divide 25. Oh no, I have to figure out. What my.
You like the drink. It's the gin and juice drink. Come on now.
Hell yeah.
Is that the commercial? If I was about to smack me because I went and got my little Canesy canes.
Yeah, you're a son of a bitch for that too. You can't get the canes and not be like, yo, I'm trying to get some canes. You want to pull up and go to Canes? Yeah, I'm gonna pull up and go to Canes. You live by raising canes. You know what I'm saying? And I will always, whenever I go to Mark's house, I'm like, I gotta go to Raising Cane's because it's close. It's closer to him than it is to me. And this nigga pulls up with the drink like I wasn't gonna like say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got the 4 finger? How many fingers you get in you?
I got a little. You know what?
He's never invited me to this show again. I gotta go crazy.
Who said you're not? It's just a little sandwich combo.
Come on, man.
You know, there's only one of the only 2 canes that are around. Other ones in like Burbank,
around our area, because there is one in Orange County.
Oh, there's one in Orange County. Oh, yeah. Okay. I was gonna say,
County?
I think we have like the only 2 canes in like a good. I almost said it. Holy shit! In like nice mile radius.
Right.
Is there one? There is.
By you?
They are popping up. Right.
So we got 3 then. How come I didn't see the 3rd one?
Come on now. How far is this shit from me?
While 5 takes a look at where this Canes is right now, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We will be back next month for all of the updates on our summer 2024. Plenty that's coming here on the Black Print for patrons and for everybody to enjoy. Of course, as 5 said earlier in the show, new episode of The Davises is coming out as a Patreon bonus. The Great American Dash, my move to California, that is also coming very soon as a Patreon bonus. You'll hear from Plus, you'll hear from myself, 5, you'll hear from Josh next week as well, not only on the new episode of The Black Print that is coming in 2 weeks, but also throwbacks for the Eminem show. If you have not got a chance as of yet, episode 63 of The Black Print has dropped, so tap into that. And the summer's just rolling along for the show. So thank y'all so much for not only supporting the show, but also tapping in each and every week with us here on the Black Print. So until you hear from us again, we will see you then. Peace.
Four fingers. Four fingers. Four fingers.
We put 4 fingers up? All right, fuck it.
Shout out to King. Shout out to King.
4 fingers.
I'm about to get me the 4-finger combo. You feed me.